Hello listeners, we are your co-hosts Janine Bailey and Marie Quigley for the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. Empower World brings guests who are making a difference to the world to inspire coaches and leaders who lead with mind, heart and soul. Hello and welcome to the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. My name is Janine Bailey and I'm here with the fabulous Marie Quigley, my business partner. It's your morning over there, Marie. Good morning.
Good morning, Janine. Great to be with you again today.
Yes, it looks beautiful where you are, and it's been okay here back in Australia in our winter time. So I am really super excited about this podcast because we are here with a very special guest, Keith Donnelly, who I met, and Keith, you'll be able to let listeners know, or maybe not, because that might give away our age a little bit. I met Keith many years ago in Sydney, way before we both went on our chosen career paths where we are right now. And yes. when I first met Keith, I really didn't understand a word that he said. But I do remember this huge, enormous smile and this amazing laugh. And from that point on, Keith and I, we created a wonderful friendship. And I have so many great memories of our times in Sydney. But fast forward many years into the future towards now, we've both been on very different trajectories compared to where we were back then. And you know, I've been so inspired by the journey that you've taken, Keith. I know you've gone on an amazing journey, and in terms of becoming a mental health nurse, and now, or in recent times, creating this wonderful charity called Keith's Closet. But I'm going to bottom line myself now and hand over to you so that you can introduce yourself to our listeners. So welcome, Keith. We're really looking forward to exploring more about your journey with Empower World and beyond. Over to you, Keith. Welcome.
Fantastic, ladies. Many thanks for the introduction, Janine. And like you said, many moons ago, we met, and it was one of the big highlights of my trip in Australia. And even better now that we're still really good friends. And after years and years, we've regrouped, and now we're on this magical journey. So a bit about me. So my name is Keith Donnelly, as you mentioned, and I work at the Prince of Wales Hospital in Randwick, and I work as a clinical nurse specialist in mental health. So it's a very busy area, and now more than ever, there's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety out there, a lot of unwell people who are trying to keep out of hospital, and that's, I guess, one of my full-time jobs at this moment.
And say more about your Keith's Closet.
Yeah, so Keith's Closet then. So this was an idea that kind of randomly, I guess, just struck me out of the blue when I was a student nurse back in Dublin, which wasn't too long ago. I had many jobs throughout my life, never really found my thing. So did plenty of jobs. One fine day, I found myself being driven into an area of mental health nursing, and I've had no regrets ever since. But in my student nurse years, I was asked to go down to a packed waiting room one afternoon. I was asked to call upon a certain patient who had a doctor's review. Now, like I mentioned, it was a very busy waiting room, and when I went into this waiting room, I could identify the individual who I had to call for a doctor review just based on his appearance alone. He was very unkempt. His head was down, like he felt embarrassed to be there. So I called his name right enough, it was him. So we went up to see the doctor. And I remember on reflection going home that day, I just felt really guilty that I was able to pick this individual out of a packed waiting room. And I kind of thought, well, what would change that up a little bit? Maybe if he had been dressed really nice, and like he was looking clean shaven and nice clothing, that it would have been more difficult. So I thought at that moment, well, wouldn't it be good if I could do something about this? So I set off on a path, went home that night, and I got some clothes out of my own wardrobe, at home, and I brought them in the next day to this gentleman, and he was like, "Oh, why would you bring this?" And I said, "Listen, I just want you to try them on if you want it." And I said, like, I just want to see if it makes a difference to you. So long and behold, it did. It had an amazing impact on him. I mean, he started small, and he kind of looked at himself, and he kind of thought, actually, I feel really good about myself. Irrelevant of the medication and the other treatments that are obviously going on at that time. So from that moment on, it kind of grew, you know, and I was thinking, well, wouldn't it be great if I could make this more of a full-time thing? But anyway, my stint in Ireland, like, sort of came and went, and my focus once I qualified was obviously to come to Australia, this amazing country, with my wife and children. And so the idea of Keith's Closet grew really in Sydney when I was here. I worked with a really dynamic team, like someone, an operations manager whose name will live in my brain forever and ever, Gareth Marr. He was the kind of guy, a manager, who would just inspire you even more. He would motivate you with any ideas that you might have. He said, listen, don't wait until it's perfect. He said, start, start and see how you go. Because I'm the kind of guy who might be one that has to tick all the boxes for us before I kind of launch into something. But he was going, no, Keith, start now and see how you go. And you'll be amazed at what you learn along the way, what you'll add, what you'll take out. So that was sound advice. So he was very encouraging, along with my wife and other managers on the board as well. Like, we kind of thought, yeah, listen, let's get this started. So we got this started. So we transformed this seclusion room into like a walk-in wardrobe, and we got the most beautiful clothing, as I still do now. So I get most magnificent male and female clothing. I get toiletries, I get sanitary items. I was even at a stage where I was getting TVs and fridges and couches for everybody. It was really taking up every minute of every day. So I've had to go back in the homewares and just focus on clothing. So basically, when our clients come into hospital now, they don't have to worry about where they're going to get clean underwear, where they're going to get nice, comfy pajamas or fresh set of clothes. We have clothing for everybody who comes in to our hospital unit now. And that's a big thanks to a major donators like you, like I said, who give us the most fantastic items, like, because we don't want, you know, rubbish looking clothing. Like, what we get for our clients is to make a real difference. It gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. It really increases their self-esteem and confidence, which most times would be really in their boots at that point, because they're coming into hospital. I'd say 99.9% of our clients who come into hospital are made involuntary. So they're already going through a really stressful and anxious time. They're missing their family and friends. And also now more than ever, due to COVID, very little hospital visits are being allowed. So they're being isolated away. There's a lot of boredom on the ward now as well, but we've managed to get them involved in getting the donations in and going through them, stocking up the closet. So now it's everybody's business, basically. Everybody wants to be like a part of Keith's Closet, while obviously getting some beautiful clothing as well. So it's a win-win, and things are going really well. We want to take it to our charity status. We had amazing visitors from Channel 7 Sunrise not so long ago. We had the mental health minister visit too. So it's getting really great exposure in them kind of circles where it needs to hit hard and make them aware that this is a universal problem. Lots of people are coming into hospital. They may not be as lucky as me and you, who have beautiful clothing and beautiful families to maybe assist during really dark times. And so they're right behind it. And the plan is that we'll expand these to many other hospitals around New South Wales, nationwide, and there's also one after opening up in Ireland as well, which is great.
Wow, Keith, what a story. And I want to take a deep breath, because I was feeling so many emotions as you were sharing that journey from you noticing something. You noticed something with that man in Dublin.
Yeah.
But you didn't just notice it. You went on to take action, to do something about it. You didn't just sit and think, oh, maybe I should have. You did something. And it was so interesting. You used the word, of course, he could try these clothes on if he wanted to. So you recognize even then that this was about somebody making a choice for themselves.
Yes.
You leading the way potentially, but still asking permission. Would this work for you to do that? And there's so many principles of coaching in the story that you've shared about connecting with other people, about listening to your intuition, asking questions, asking permission, getting curious about another human being to find out what it's like to walk in their shoes, and also empowering them by helping them to put these clothes on and then have an impact on their physiology. You described that man in the hospital in Dublin, how he had his head down, and then the change about his smile. I mean, there's so many principles in the work we do as coaches that's so connected to what you do. And this is why we were so delighted to have you, this man who's making such a huge difference in the world, decide to make a choice for himself and become trained as a professional coach. And I'm wondering, Keith, as you made that decision for yourself, what was that like as you went through the journey? You know, it feels like you have these things in your bones, but when you learn them officially, what was it like for you?
It was, at the start, I really didn't know what I was going to get involved in. I was thinking, so what is this whole journey like that people are talking about, life coaching? What is that? Am I going to fit in? Like, this is one of my greatest fears. I might sound like a very confident person, but I'm really not. Like, I just want to do right for other people and help other people, and then I secretly like sort of walk away and feel happy that I've made a difference, that someone is okay. So to put myself in this platform, I thought, oh my God, am I going to be okay? Am I going to succeed? Is everybody going to like me? And then as well, it's on Zoom. So I'm very much a face-to-face person as well. And I wasn't sure how this whole Zoom thing was going to go down. And it was just like a tell from the very first night, our introduction, everybody just coming on, and you felt like, wow, this is the start of a serious journey here. It's not serious. It's going to be an incredible journey with lots of people who are in the same boat. None of us really know what's going to go on, how we're going to relate to each other. And one of the major things for me was very early on was just everybody was so open, and it just made for such a fantastic classroom, like where you could just be vulnerable, like you could just be yourself, you could just be open. No one's got to judge you. No one's got to think oh, well, why would you say that? Because the respect, like, and the guidelines were set out very early on. And everybody knew like where we stood, but it was also very important that us as individuals and grown-ups knew like that this was a great opportunity to enhance ourselves and really come on in our own individual way. And that was the start of it. That was just the start.
Yeah. Wow, beautiful, Keith. Beautifully said. And, you know, one of the things you did say in your introduction as well was how you were encouraged to essentially feel the fear and do it anyway. You said that you were the sort of person to get all your ducks in a row to be perfect. But you listened to that. You listened to your mentor, I heard, and decided to go ahead and do it anyway, just as you did with the coach training as well. You didn't know what it was about. There was perhaps these fears coming up, and you felt the fear and you did it anyway. And it was wonderful to have you as part of that cohort, because I know that you inspired others, and I know others would have been inspiring you as well. And I know that there were challenges along that journey. So we're wondering, Keith, how did perhaps the coach training, how did that support you with those challenges? And again, we're not asking you to share the details of the challenge, but perhaps, you know, what were you learning in the coach training that supported you through those challenges?
Yeah, I guess when you've signed up for such a very important course like this, like you're really putting a lot of value into yourself, like you're putting a lot of effort in. It's very much, oh, okay, you've signed up for this, you got to be dedicated. And then like you're thinking, yeah, okay, there throughout this course, like some little dramas might appear. That's life at the end of the day. But I wasn't expecting a big drama to kind of arrive on my doorstep, and it really shook me to the core. Even so much so that I think it was about halfway through, and I knew like that if I kind of bowed out for one of the classes, that was it. I'd have to rejoin a later class. And then obviously speaking with you guys was just like really so encouraging, so supportive. And I can just say that without the support of you guys and giving me that little push when I needed it most, and just the sense that everything was going to be okay, that I could still attend the class, that I could still be myself, I could be present in whatever way that was going to be. Um, you knew and I knew that I definitely wasn't going to be 100% on focus. I might have had my moments where I had to go off screen a little bit, but I felt that really lifted me out of an amazing spot. And like we always said at class and from the very, very off, is that this whole course is to make us feel empowered. And I remember waking up the next morning, as I had done, with all the stress and anxiety, thinking, oh my God, I have to face another day of this, and how am I going to get through it? But the following morning, after attending this class, I genuinely woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the first thought that came into my mind was feeling empowered. And that was something that I genuinely had never felt in my entire life, to jump out of bed and actually be ready for what the day was going to lay on for me. That was worth its money and gold for me. It really was. So it was just as well like that. I felt that I could be open. I could share what was going on and not feel or judged, or not feel that any remarks were going to be made. With you guys who were just absolutely incredible, and also my classmates who had only known a very short time as well, like were just absolutely amazing. And even off the course, then I got like some messages of support saying, listen, Kate, we're thinking of you, we hope you're doing okay. And I was thinking, this is amazing. Some of my best friends, like I couldn't even tell what I was going through. Like some of my family members, I never even told, and still don't know. But at this moment in time, I went in, I attended the class, like I said, and I felt, you know what, I'm absolutely fine sharing this with these guys, because the trust and the friendship that we had built up in such a short space of time with the course was unimaginable. Yeah. Or magic.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing the challenge that you experienced. What was it that allowed you to shift from maybe going into, I'm going to use the word victim, and I don't mean it in that way, but going into victim maybe mentality of kind of poor me, because you didn't do that. There was you chose a different way of being. How did you do that?
It was literally from the previous, our previous classes that we were on. Like I think we were into maybe week 4 or week 5. And from the very off, you just knew that what you're going through, you have to live it. Like it's real life. So it's not something that you can just park off and not worry about it, and that's got to go away. The skills that I learned in this course in such a very, very short space of time, like sort of taught me, yeah, listen, you're only human. Of course you're going to be feeling this way. Like this is real life trauma that's going on. But the skills I learned from in Power World, like really instilled me to kind of accept what was going on, but also like to think of the sunshine, like the good times that were going to come. And this was just a bit of a blip, and things were going to go in the right direction, whatever direction that was. And that was like life changing for me, like, because if I hadn't had them skills, I genuinely don't know where I would be now. And that's the truth, like, because you can go one or two ways. You can either accept what's going on and just ride through it and focus like on the good times, or else you can just, like, it can go bad as well.
Yes, absolutely, Keith. And again, really, we want to thank you for bringing your whole self into the training room and bringing that vulnerability into the room, and allowing that to support you to actually move through what you were experiencing. So there was great courage in your decision to continue to keep going through this big challenge that you were facing in your life. And again, that just great credit to you and who you are. And I know the difference that you want to make. So I appreciate that you also appreciate these skills of coaching can support what you do. They can go hand in hand with what you do to support people to have a better life.
Yes.
So I know we're coming closer to the end of our podcast, a little bit sadly. But what wisdom would you impart to our listeners potentially about coaching or anything else that you've experienced? Because we know that you've got wonderful wisdom that's right here in this room right now.
Yeah. I guess that being a mental health nurse, not that I would ever think I have all the answers and I can help people every time. And by doing this course, it kind of gives you like an extra tool set. It really does. Like, it's an extra tool set that I never even knew existed. And it's about like actually taking the journey, like we mentioned earlier, walking that journey in their shoes and knowing the potential. But the really standout bit was, because when I'm a mental health nurse, I have to help a lot of my clients find the direction, and that's just how I've been trained and what I've been doing ever since. But with the Empower World course, like, it's not that. It's not about like me thinking what's best for someone else or this lady or this gentleman. It's about finding, like, digging a little bit deep at them and actually going on this journey. And the results that I've experienced so far, like with my clients, but also my friends and my family, and even so much to say with my young children, has been absolutely life-changing. So it's not just for a specific, like, side, age, gender, whatever. This is for everybody. And I would just encourage anybody who's either not thinking about it or contemplating doing it to just go and do it, because, again, the training is absolutely exceptional. And I can never thank you guys enough for the amazing course that you've on, the amazing work. Your knowledge is second to none, and it's been one hell of a journey, which I've absolutely loved. Brilliant.
Keith, we have thoroughly enjoyed every part of wisdom, every joyful moment that you've brought to us since knowing you. And I've only recently met you, and I know our paths are going to continue to cross in so many ways. Thank you for everything you are, and thank you for everything you do. If people want to find out more about Keith's Closet, which I know they will, and want to support you in any way, how can they do that, Keith?
They can look on the social media platforms such as Facebook under Keith's Closet. I'm also on Instagram, I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn. So if you just Google maybe Keith's Closet, you'll get some good information up there to locate me. And I just say, please get in touch. It's a universal issue and something we want to bring worldwide eventually.
Beautiful, Keith. And I can hear all your cheerleaders behind you.
Oh my God, the Matildas have obviously equalized. There's craziness going on out there. I should have warned them, but I forgot.
Joy of interviewing on Zoom, isn't it? Family and friends join in sometimes.
This is all part and parcel. If it's not cats making bat noises, it's kids screaming at the telly.
Oh, I thought they were cheering you on, Keith.
No, definitely not me tonight. The Matildas.
Keith, it's been an absolute pleasure, and again, thank you for being a dear friend, and I'm so looking forward to our potential future pathways ahead together. So
can't wait.
Thank you.
So exciting, and a massive thank you again. It's been an amazing journey, but it's only the start of it. It's got to build, and magical things are going to happen. So thank you both very, very much.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Wishing you both in Australia a wonderful evening as I enjoy the day at this side of the world. And Keith, we look forward to watching you grow and expand and dream.
Fantastic. Yeah, you got a dream.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening. You can find out more about us on our website www.empower-world.com and on our social media networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. Be empowered.